You've been lied to. And I don't mean that in a dramatic clickbait kind of way. I mean there is one specific piece of advice that almost every fitness influencer, every magazine cover, and every late-night infomercial has been feeding you for years, and it is actively keeping you stuck. Today, I am going to expose that lie. And then I am going to give you my single most effective tip for losing belly fat fast. Not a list of 20 things, not a complicated meal plan, just one powerful principle that changes everything. Stick with me, because the payoff at the end of this video is going to completely shift how you approach your body and your health. This doesn't replace the basics of nutrition, but it's often the missing piece. Let me start with something that might sting a little. If you have been doing endless crunches, buying fat burner supplements, or following some extreme calorie restriction plan, and you are still not seeing results around your midsection, that is not a failure on your part. That is a failure of the information you have been given. The fitness industry makes billions of dollars keeping you confused. Confused people buy more products. But you are here, which means you are done with that cycle, and I respect that. So let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed that you can work out consistently for weeks, eat what you think is a pretty decent diet, and still that belly fat just refuses to move? You are not imagining it. There is an actual biological reason for this, and it has everything to do with one hormone that most people completely overlook when they talk about fat loss. That hormone is cortisol. Here is the thing about cortisol. It is your body's primary stress hormone. When you are under chronic stress, whether that is work pressure, poor sleep, emotional anxiety, or even the stress of over-exercising and under-eating, your cortisol levels stay elevated. And here is where it gets really interesting from a fat loss perspective. Elevated cortisol specifically signals your body to store fat in the abdominal region. Your body is essentially protecting your vital organs by wrapping them in an energy reserve. It is a survival mechanism that made perfect sense thousands of years ago. It makes zero sense for your life today. So my number one tip to lose belly fat fast is not a specific food to cut out. It is not a particular workout style. My number one tip is to aggressively manage your cortisol levels. I know that might sound less exciting than a magic superfood or a new exercise hack, but hear me out, because the research on this is genuinely fascinating, and the practical application is way simpler than you think. Let's break down the 3 biggest cortisol triggers that are sabotaging your belly fat loss right now. The first one is sleep deprivation. When you sleep less than 7 hours a night, your cortisol levels the following day are measurably higher. Not slightly higher, significantly higher. And on top of that, poor sleep elevates ghrelin, the hormone that makes you hungry, while suppressing leptin, the hormone that makes you feel full. So you are getting a double hit. More cortisol driving fat storage, and more hunger driving you to eat more. Prioritizing sleep is not a passive activity. You need to treat it like a training session. The second major cortisol trigger is chronic undereating combined with over-exercising. I know this goes against everything you may have been told about weight loss. More workouts, fewer calories. Right? Wrong. When your body is in a prolonged caloric deficit and you are also hammering it with intense exercise every single day, cortisol spikes hard. Your body interprets this as a survival threat. And once again, it responds by holding on to belly fat with everything it has. The solution is not to stop exercising and start eating everything in sight. The solution is strategic. Eat enough to fuel your workouts. Incorporate rest days. Make sure you have adequate protein to preserve muscle. This approach actually accelerates fat loss rather than stalling it. The third cortisol trigger, and the one most people ignore, is psychological stress. I am talking about the day-to-day anxiety of a demanding job, a difficult relationship, financial pressure, or just the constant noise of modern life. These stressors produce real physiological changes in your body. They are not just in your head. And while you may not be able to eliminate all stress from your life, you can implement daily practices that dramatically lower your cortisol response. Even 10 minutes of deliberate breathwork, meditation, or walking in nature has been shown in multiple studies to reduce cortisol levels meaningfully. Now, I want to give you a practical framework, because I do not want this to be one of those videos where you walk away feeling informed but directionless. Here is exactly what I want you to implement starting tonight. Number 1, set a non-negotiable bedtime. Pick a time that allows you 7 to 9 hours of sleep and protect it like a meeting you cannot cancel. Put your phone in another room, dim your lights an hour before, and get serious about your sleep environment. This single change alone can start shifting your belly fat within 2 to 3 weeks. Number 2, audit your exercise routine. If you are doing intense cardio 6 or 7 days a week, pull it back. 3 to 4 sessions of strength training combined with 2 sessions of moderate cardio is far more effective for long-term fat loss than daily grinding. Your rest days are when your body actually changes. Number 3, eat enough protein. Protein keeps you satiated, preserves muscle mass, and has a high thermic effect, meaning your body burns more calories digesting it. Aim for somewhere around 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of your body weight daily. This is not complicated, and it does not require tracking every single calorie obsessively. Number 4, add a daily cortisol reset practice. This can be as simple as 5 minutes of deep breathing in the morning, a short walk after dinner, or a few minutes of journaling before bed. The specific method matters less than the consistency. You are training your nervous system to down-regulate, and that has a direct impact on your hormonal environment and therefore your belly fat. Number 5, be patient, but also trust the process. Cortisol management is not a gimmick. It is addressing root cause physiology. When you consistently apply these principles, you will start to notice changes not just in your midsection, but in your energy levels, your mood, your sleep quality, and your overall relationship with your body. These changes compound over time in a way that crash diets and extreme programs never can. I want to be real with you for a second. The reason this tip is my number 1 and not something more flashy is because it works when nothing else seems to. I have seen people who were doing everything right on paper, eating clean, hitting the gym hard, tracking their macros, but still stuck. And when they finally addressed the stress and sleep piece, things started moving. The belly fat that had been stubborn for months began to respond. The fitness industry wants you to believe that the answer is always more discipline, more restriction, more intensity. But sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is slow down, sleep more, breathe deeply, and let your body feel safe enough to release what it has been holding on to. If this video gave you a new perspective, do me a favor and drop a comment below telling me which of these 4 steps you are going to start with. I read every single comment, and I love seeing what resonates most. And if you want to go deeper on the hormonal side of fat loss, I have a video that covers exactly how insulin resistance and cortisol work together to create that stubborn belly fat effect. Watch that next because it connects directly to everything we talked about today. I will see you there.